Welcome to Ashes to Love podcast, hosted by Marta Miner and Ushi Patel, with guests who have walked through fire and emerged stronger than ever. Let their stories light up your way.
Good morning, everyone. Here we are. And as always, so excited. I was like, what is the adjective, Marta? I feel like I'm coming out of my skin every time we record because of the listeners, really, and what we get to hear happens for people who are listening. And then what happens for us, we leave this recording vibrating with excitement.
Change of energy for sure after each of
Change.
the episodes.
Yeah. And this week, we always love to share, Marta and I, how we're together or we're not together in the same even state. And it seems like we have similar ahas every week. And how is that exactly happening? Right? It's just, oh, hey, Marta, I had this aha. And then you're always like, that's exactly the aha I had. Obviously, different words, different contexts, but something very special about, I think what I call it is like the field. It happens with my clients too. One will come in, and by the end of the week, 10 will have shared something very similar.
Mm-hmm.
And so this week, we always want to come to you with what they are. Maybe you're also feeling it, but this week was something while I was walking on my infamous Ushi walks with the birds in the background. It was a duh moment. I don't call them ahas, I call them does, because only just to tease myself, because I've heard the wisdom over and again, but sometimes it doesn't quite click into place or land in the way until you're open or until you're ready in your life journey or the continuum of what you're doing. There's some things that just land in a different way, even though the words have been the same your whole life. So I'm walking, and of course, it's like an epic film moment because it's like after a storm and the light is shining in the sky. I couldn't have scripted it better. I needed like a director there to film me.
Camera guy following you.
Maybe
one day.
Maybe.
You'll be recording the birds and all your thoughts.
Yeah. So what happened is I just thought, wait a second, Ushi, wait. I started mulling over my dreams, my goals, what we're going to do with this podcast, what I'm going to do with this upcoming product that I'm releasing. And I found myself getting a little agitated about not having a next step or having a series of next steps, but not really clear about what direction would yield the most results. That was the way I was approaching it in my head. So I could just feel myself clamming up and just not in the vibe that I usually am, especially in such a beautiful setting. So I had the wherewithal to say, stop, what's happening here? And the aha that landed was, what is the experience that you think all of this will result in? Not the money, not the measured goal, not the metric, not the number of people served. What is the experience you're going after in your life? And so then I was like, oh, I've been linking my self-worth and gratitude and experience of everything by metrics versus by experiences. And so what I specifically meant by that, and I was sharing with you earlier today, Marta, was like, I'm doing all this to watch my kid dress up as an angel in the Christmas play and to make sure that I'm available to watch all his lacrosse games and to find ourselves in situations where maybe we get to watch an incredible athlete at the Olympics in Paris or in the US, or to go to the soccer. Like, I started just listing a beautiful restaurant where me and my husband can have a great conversation, experiences. And I have this like 1% of the time, not wholly, I'm not always like this, but enough to block the thing that I'm asking to come to fruition, to make it harder than it needs to be. This 1% of me that's, oh, I need money in my bank account to have these experiences. And then came a wave of all these moments in my life where that was just not true. A friend who gifted me sweet tickets to a football game the same friend who sent me to the Blake Shelton concert, right? There was no money exchange. There wasn't even an ask. It was a gift, right?
Mhm.
My mom, who in the honor of my dad wanted to gift me and my brother a vacation for my families and I, like it's so much evidence to the contrary of you need to have a
Mhm.
big bank account or hit your
Yeah.
metrics to feel success. Like that frame is like coming out of me in such a big way right now. And I have compassion. I know where it comes from. I know it was trained and ingrained in me, and I'm turning a
Work
story
hard,
around.
right? Like
Y-
working for your money and
Yes, and measuring and self-worth related to things versus your heart and experience. So this was just something I really felt passionate about bringing to the listeners today. And then Marta's, oh wait, that was my same aha. So that's what we're here to talk about. Very long way. It's quintessential Ushi, long way of telling everyone that this magic that happened for me, this opening that happened for me when I listed the experiences and began to focus on the experience versus the result. And I will say, a lot of people say feeling, and I never quite got it. I was like, what do you mean? What do I want to feel when I have that? I was like, I don't get it. I don't get it. But I can say what I want to experience, right? Which is the same thing, but it was like
for you, yeah, it was
for
different.
me, that word works. So hopefully, this is also sending light bulbs off for some of our listeners. What is the experience that you're trying to create in your world and focusing on that?
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. And thanks for sharing that. We had a little chat prior to recording the podcast, and Ushi was so excited to share. I'm like, literally, we have the same light bulbs going off at the same
Yeah.
time. I don't know how and how God brought us together. The universe connected us to be going through the same growth journey at the exact same time. Like that really shocks me the most out of anything because there's something to it. And like you always mention, if I'm going through it, your clients are going through it. And I'm sure a lot of our listeners potentially are going through the same thing we're talking about today. But I literally, when you were saying that, I'm like, you know what? A lot of us are going through this journey on this planet, searching for like the measurement, like you mentioned, right? Like what car, what house, what, and we think that once we achieve that is what's going to make you happy. That is what is going to put that cherry on top. And I've been already in a situation where I had everything I could have think of that I needed. It didn't give me any happiness whatsoever. I
Mm-hmm.
had to start from scratch and start building my life up to like, how do I want to feel? For me, it is a feeling. For you, it's more experience. For me, it is a feeling like, how do I want to feel every day? And like you said, do I need a $10 million in my account to feel that? You know what I mean? I don't. To
No.
see your kid play a snowflake in a Christmas play does
Yeah.
not take any money. And for you to go on a vacation with your family, potentially you would think that it does take your money, but it's not necessary. Sometimes experiences will come through gifts or through winning like a little trip by playing some, I don't know what, something, raffle, right?
Yeah.
It happens often, but I think in our heads, because you and I are so similar in the way how we feel like I need to produce it, like we're producers, we're the drivers. So unless I produce it and I make that money, that is not possible to achieve. And you know what? I want to bring out an example of before I got into corporate world. I was a pharmaceutical rep, and I started listening to Tony Robbins, and he changed my life within literally a month or so. I was a different person because he talks a lot about imagining yourself doing those things that you want to do. Stop thinking how you're going to get the money. Just imagine yourself doing it. So I was a pharmaceutical rep, and I would go take myself out to lunch and pretend that I could actually afford it. I could afford really nice lunches. And I lived in that energy for about a month, and I instantly got promoted to management. I don't even know how that happened. It was the biggest magical moment. I had 7 months experience as a rep. So nothing logical would tell you would get promoted to a manager, right? But I did. And I started having these experiences of travel, everybody paying for me because I had a corporate card, like everything was
Yeah.
paid for. I
Yeah.
traveled to the nicest hotels, to everything, Hawaii, Vegas, Denver, all over, had the experience without me having to spend one penny of my money.
Yeah.
But it's the visualization that I created in my mind of like, how do I want to feel? I want to feel like I can afford all these lunches. I can go to nice dinner in Vegas. I can travel to Hawaii. it wasn't created by me actually doing the work. It's partly because it was work related, but somebody paid for it.
Mhm.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And
It just, yeah. It is. I'm like, I'm a yes. I'm a yes.
yeah, because it
Yeah.
doesn't always have to come through that. But what we're really trying to in this conversation bring up is that no matter how much money you have, if you don't have that feeling already, the money is not going to bring the feeling for
No,
sure. No amount of
no.
money, travel, any of that is going to bring you the peace, the joy, the enjoyment, seeing your kids in the play, because then you're going to be rushed and running, and you have 10 businesses and you have to pay for. So now we're back, like I'm backtracking. I'm like, okay, how do I want to feel every morning? I want to have a conversation with Ushi and feel the joy that this conversation doesn't really need to produce any money. I'm just enjoying it, the fact that we're having the conversation. And
Mhm.
for others, hopefully having their aha moments through our conversation. That's enough. That
Yeah.
makes me happy.
Yeah. I don't know. That's the thing that I have, the rub I have with myself. Will I be happy just having the conversation if it doesn't go somewhere? That's that 1% that always is in my head that's, yeah, but you got to do something with it. Always telling me, but I really do feel that point did come in my life. I had a lot of outward success many times in my life where I've had to do a reset where I have the outward success, but then what's the point of all the success if you're not
Mhm.
savoring this beautiful life that you have?
Mhm.
And I've been watching something that's been really cool is watching my kids' face light up when certain things happen. And we took him to the racetrack, which is like the last place you'd ever think Ushi would go. But here I was at the Formula One racetrack outside of Austin. And I had my own judgments about what I would experience, but I just was like, Ushi, just stop. You get to go to this place. John planned the whole thing, and your kids are stoked. Like they had all their Lightning McQueen on. And then we get there, and just the juxtaposition of when we arrived, the car came around the corner so fast like it was just incredible, exhilarating energy. And I saw Ryan's face. I've never, it was so
Mhm.
beautiful, so joyful, so lit up. Like he had seen, I don't know, Lightning McQueen like legit alive. He was like, oh
Mhm.
my God. And he was in the moment, he was savoring. And that's the thing I want. And I think it's a little silly of me to think that I thought the success or the metrics was going to give me that. All it took was to pay attention to the thing that was happening that day for me.
Mhm.
And quite literally, I didn't plan it. Literally, John planned everything to some eye rolls where I'm like, what am I going to do at a racetrack? I walked away seeing a community of people completely immersed in the thing that they love. These amazing, gorgeous cars that as a designer, I was like, wow, totally passionate people. Every manner of person stopped to greet the kids, show them the engine, take them under the car. Like it was a very beautiful experience in an unexpected place. But when you're trying to get the ticket or trying to be the person, like that's when I lose my cookies, basically. I
Mhm.
lose that alignment. And it's not to say there's no joy in that moment, but that it's to say that in this moment, it's I really got the in India, they say the rasa, the nectar of life was
Mhm.
so there. And it had nothing to do with what I achieved that
Nothing.
day, had nothing to do with who I knew. It was literally savoring an experience. And so that's what started it off is that I want, okay, so that's what I want. That's the end goal. If you, I do
Mhm.
believe you got to focus and vision what you want and get in touch with that. But that's where I want to place my focus and my gratitude is on seeing my kids' face light up. What are those things? I don't even know what they are. How I could never have. I'm gonna go to NASCAR or Formula One. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
car people are gonna be like, "Oh my God, she has no idea what she's talking about." I don't claim I do. Whatever car that was or race, I would have never thought that much. It was probably akin to what people feel like in church or what I feel like when I go and meditate. That it was really like literally that spiritual for
Yeah.
me that is at a race car track of connection that I felt with myself and with a higher power that this is what's possible for life and this is what's possible for existence.
Yeah, the being present. It's so hard in our society to be present because we have so many things coming at us at all times. that I think as mothers, it may be a little bit easier for us because we have that deep connection with our children that they can pull us out of the hustle and bustle, and you can just look them in the eye
Yes.
like you did and see that joy in his eyes, and it like snaps you out of this busy or whatever is happening, and you can be there and just see them as a gift that they are. I think children really open us up to being present because every time I look at my daughter, I'm already sad that she's growing so quickly.
I know.
So I'm
I know.
savoring, right? We're
Yes.
savoring by looking at them, these
Yes.
moments and the beauty. But I also feel like when you are in these present moments, because, okay, so we both listen to Abraham, right? You and I really enjoy their teachings. And what they talk about all the time is your job is to have fun. All you need to do is have fun because you've already put out in your vortex, in the universe, whatever people want to call that, your desires. They're already there. They're not going to come to you unless you relax and just stop going crazy. Just be there, enjoy the moment, and then they come. But I
Yes.
think we always feel like we need to chase. The chase
Yes.
only pushes it away and they run from you. It's like I don't know if you've been in the dog races. I don't know, like the greyhound races. I've done it like a long time ago, and you have that little bunny and they just chase the bunny. It's really fun, actually, dog races that I've seen. I haven't done them in 20 years, but that is your goals running away from you when you chase them. They're going to keep running, and people are frustrated, like, why? I'm doing everything. Relax. Like when you relax and let go and pay attention to what is, those goals will come chasing you. Like your vision board will start chasing you.
Mm,
It's not the other way around. You cannot chase something with intensity that we have. Like, I need it. I want it. I want this life. I want the money. It's only when you relax. And I will say that last week I had a pretty somewhat traumatizing experience that really put
mm,
everything in perspective for me and shifted. Because I was already on the path, but it really shifted for me. I went to Whole Foods, which seems to me like a very safe place where I just go grocery shopping. It's right by my house. And my wallet was stolen from me. And it was stolen in a very strange way where I was actually helping somebody and they worked as a pair. And this is also like a reminder for all of you women because we're so compassionate, right? And we always want to help. You always have to keep in mind that some people use that when you're
right.
compassionate and sweet. If somebody is not a good person, that can be used against you. So some guy distracted me to help him, like an older gentleman, and the other one took my wallet, right? That's never happened to me in that way. My wallet was full of everything that's my life, every little thing that I have, memorabilia and my daughter's this and that from Disneyland. And I keep everything there, not to mention all my credit cards, lots of cash, because I was just doing my Airbnb. And I felt in that moment, instead of getting angry, I literally felt the most grateful I've ever been in my life. It hit me that life can change in a split second. That
Right.
could have been somebody stabbing me. That could have been somebody hurting my family because it instantly, my purse was here and next minute it wasn't. And I
Right.
already knew it's not recoverable, that you feel it in your gut. It's over. It's done. Forget what was in your purse. Not going to happen. You're not going to see it again. And instead of being angry, I'm like, it was just a warning. And now you have to be more paying attention even more
Mhm.
because it's just the money. I had two shifts in that moment. First of all, what's really important to me came to me, which is only my daughter. I don't really give a crap about anything else. I went home and I hugged her. I'm like, she's here. That's all. You can take everything from me. I don't care. She's
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And secondary, I realized how far I've come with my perception of money. I didn't like, because with credit cards, you can still get it back. My cash, I had a lot of cash in there. I won't even say the number. I won't carry that anymore. So don't go after me. I am carrying zero cash in my wallet.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
had a lot and I had no grief with losing it. I felt money is such a replaceable thing. If it was here, it will come. It will probably double because when you lose something, usually it comes stronger, better, more. I had no attachment, zero. I was worried about my ID being stolen, things like that, but
Mhm.
nothing to do, like no worries about money. I'm like, it will come, it's replaceable. Pay attention. This is a sign. This is a sign to pay closer attention to what is important to you, right? And I wanted to give that as a warning too, because it does happen sometimes. And us women are vulnerable, but at the same time, like how you react is whether you pass the test or not. I felt I passed the test. I'm like, take what you want. I'm not gonna dwell in my pity right now,
Yeah.
self-pity.
Yeah. I didn't have one associated necessarily with money, but over the holidays, you know this, that on the day before New Year's, we had a big 2023, and I was headed to my in-laws' place with the kids, and we were on the flight was delayed. So it ended up being that we were on the road at close to 11:30 at night, very foggy in Vermont. If you live in Vermont, you understand that there's not a lot of lights. Like and it's a great thing because it means the natural world gets to be the natural world. But we were on the freeway and everything looked fine. And so John's going the speed limit, but it was 65 or 70. And we hit a deer. And my boys, it's a rental car. My boys are in the car and I could see it coming. John couldn't see it because he was driving, but I could
Wow.
see it coming. And so I had enough time to be like, try to, I didn't turn, I didn't have enough time to turn, but I had enough awareness to be like, protect the kids. Mama instinct
Yeah.
was there. And also, it breaks my heart because I love deer and I always think of animals as signs. This one was a wake up call for me, as you said, to tell me to slow down.
Mhm.
And again, I get so upset at myself. Like, you need another example to slow down in your life around time and having to like fit all these things in. But when that flash happened, I remember thinking the only thing that matters to me is in this car right now.
Yeah.
And the only thing I care about are these three beings. I didn't even include myself in that. I was like, what's in this car? So I did include
Yes.
myself, but it was such a wake up call to really come back to what matters most. And I think that was wonderful. It sounds so silly to say it. There were so many other things. It was like learning the lesson in such a protected way because even right when we went to get the rental car, there was two to choose from. And my husband instinctively is like, we're gonna go use that one. And I was like, "Meh." I don't even like the look of that one. Like I was like, and
Mhm.
had we taken the other car, the way that car is built, I know we would have been in a mess. The
Mm.
car he chose, which I thought was ugly, was lower to the ground. So it gave us, it was just like the precision of the angles and everything that, and the way that he gripped the car meant that we didn't flip. He like kept his
Mm.
way. Of course, I was so grateful to the guy who he protected his family, and then to the grace that protected the family,
Mhm.
and to the decision. So I only say that because none of that is goal oriented. None of that is a metric. That is an invisible hand, which I very much believe in.
Mhm.
It's what matters most. And I felt that was my reminder of place your attention on what matters most. And I feel like my aha last week was like, or it was this week, that yes, that's the it's not the culmination, I'll learn forever, but it was really like this poignant moment in my life of what matters most. That's all you have to have in your brain right now. And the rest follows. And you can have what matters most. That's what's also beautiful is that you're having it and you can have more of it. And so it was a beautiful, I say magical. What I really mean is that joy that the joy for just living or the joy for no reason at all is what I experienced. And it feels almost like relief or a calm, and you and I always talk about that. There's nothing
Mhm.
better than peace of mind. It's gold.
It
Peace of
is.
mind in this era is gold. And that's what that brought about. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that aha, that light bulb.
Happened.
However, yeah,
Mhm. Yeah,
yeah,
because when you told me about that, I'm very visual and I see it instantly and I think in symbols. Like my brain thinks in symbols. I see something, I'm like, oh wow, this is the symbol of this. When you told me that story, that's what I thought right away is she was slowed down, but in a safe way. Everybody's still there, everybody's protected. It made you
yes,
realize on the inside what's important.
yes,
And at the same time, you were going on trajectory of even more work potentially or whatever. And I think if we're not meant to go on a certain path, like Oprah always says, like you get a little pebble that hits you like boom. And a lot of us don't pay attention. Oh, pebble, whatever. And then she says it's avalanche that will hit you because it will take you off the wrong path. if you're supposed to be doing something different, right? Life always guides us and shows us the path. Not that your path of being busy is a bad path, but it may not be the right path for you. It steers you slightly in the direction of maybe let go a little bit more of the busy, restructure, because really what's important to you is that family inside the car.
Yeah. It's what you were saying about chase. The way I saw it is in that, because I feel like I've come a long way in that based on the experiences of my life. And actually, at that point, I thought I am like, I took a week off. I was
Yeah,
like, these are things I don't normally do. So why is it still happening? But because in my head, the race was still there.
still there.
And
Yeah.
and it's like the race of going on to the next, having to push my limits, keep going, just one more thing, and then I will relax. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
when I'm like this, then I will relax. And fundamentally, I think that's also where so much stress and disease comes from, is that it's on to the next, on to the next. And even though I knew that, I could see that I keep saying this like 1%, like that 1% can matter so much to the learning and the tweak that you need to make. And it can be like the one, no, despite how much you've learned, it's that rigor of that switch is the thing that takes you the furthest. Is like even when you're losing weight, right? A lot of people are like that last 5 pounds, but that's where the permanent transformation comes.
Yes.
And and it tends to be the hardest and the sort of, especially with that last 5 pounds, you're like, oh my God, I'm doing everything I was
Yeah.
doing before and losing weight, and now I'm not. What is this 5 pounds about?
Yeah,
And so that was my like last 5 pounds of
totally.
really, right, connecting to the material. And I don't consider myself a materialistic person. Like I love
No.
beautiful
Hmm.
things, but I never thought I was motivated by only that. But there's a part of me that was, I wouldn't even say motivated, but more pulled or pushing herself in relation to some sort of, and we talk about this all the time, whose goal is in your head? Right? Is
Hmm.
it
Hmm.
yours? Is it something that you perceive others want you to have? Is it something you got from TV or social media and
Hmm.
comparing yourself? Like, whose goal is that, Ushi? And I thought, oh, no, my true goal in life is to sit there and watch Ryan frolic across the stage as an angel or whatever he's going to dress
Yeah,
up as
yeah.
in Christmas, but or see Nico and his football. He's obsessed with football and the face of like seriousness that he gets that he's a football player. It's like all that I'm never going to get back. I'm never going to get that time back.
Mhm.
And yeah, so even money aside, like time, no, time is so precious and so valuable. I can never get it back. It's the one thing you can't replace it. You can be more organized and try to amplify it, but at the end of the day, my kid is only going to be 5 3/4 once, and we'll make sure you know that he's at the 3/4 mark. And which is the fortune of also being a mom. You're really in touch with those milestones again,
Yeah.
that you're never going to get that time back.
And it's also a privilege to be an older mom because we can see time differently. When you're
Yes.
20, you don't have a perspective. So you probably miss more of a kid's life potentially because you're still in the hustle, you're still building, you're this and you're managing and you're doing all. At our age, I am very aware of how much time I potentially have left. When you're 20, you don't feel it. You feel like you have your whole life. So you
Yeah.
miss more things and it's natural. But with us, like we stare at our kids like they're like, I don't know, like my daughter is a celebrity. I stare at her every single day, seeing every moment. Oh,
She
she's
does
only
look like a
one
celebrity.
time.
It's so
I
cute.
think
Yeah. Yeah.
she thinks she is. But it's just that awareness of the time passing and never getting the moment. But what was also coming to me when you were saying the story about your car, it didn't come to me earlier. This is the first time we've talked about this many times. I don't even think that your goals are the wrong goals. I think the life stopped you from the way you're supposed to achieve those goals,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
It's supposed
Hmm.
to be easy. For some reason, me and you this year have been having this epiphany. It's supposed to be easy. It
Yes.
does not have to take this much time or pull you away from kids. We've done that already. We have many years of working extremely hard. And this year, for you and I think we both started talking about there's a different way to achieve the same result. And I think that's what it was for you. Your goals are still valid. I think you can still have all that you
They're
want.
beautiful. Yeah, they're beautiful goals. You're
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be this or that. It could be both. Yet
Yes.
there's a different way of accomplishing it. So still going that path, Ushi, there's an easier path for you. But you
Yeah.
had to
And
have that awakening for that moment. Oh, I don't want to go that route.
easier and richer. So, what I mean by richer is that, so you're totally right at what you're seeing. And it's this feeling of, so for example, right now, part of how I'm making it easier for myself is hiring talent and not feeling like I have to do it myself. And again, one of those things you always hear, delegate. Good entrepreneurs delegate. And I'm like, yeah. And I've even given that advice. I wasn't doing it to the full capacity that I could do it. I was doing it. And then what starts to happen is, for example, with my business partner, she is an amazing writer. And last week she wrote this thing for my business. And I was like, this is amazing. It's so wonderful. She's so talented. I feel so supported. It's going to make a difference for so many women. So that richness isn't there if I'm staying up late and trying to push through and write it myself.
Hmm.
And yes, it does take trust. And of course, I've cultivated that relationship for over 5, 6 years now. And yes, there was some efforting there, but again, like if I'm sitting there at 11 o'clock at night and alone and grumpy and resenting the fact that I have to write something, that isn't my goal. You're right. Like my goal is to have created something that really resonates with people. Well, that happened and all this other stuff happened. And we had a fun meeting and we had some fun water cooler talk over Zoom. And I got to see what I love to see, which is a woman in her element. That's what I think the focus on experience is going to do for me is that, and for anyone who chooses to have this be their light bulb too is that it is richer. Like it doesn't take the money to be a richer woman. And I think that was the part, that last 5 pounds that I was releasing from my brain of any
Yeah.
money is beautiful. Money is a tool. Money can do great things. I have utmost respect for money, but not in the name of losing yourself or of hurting yourself or thinking you have to drop
Sacrificing.
yourself.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And then look at the richness unfold. And that was one little moment in my life.
I
So now
love that
think,
5 pound analogy. That's
yeah,
amazing because it is the hardest thing to do. And when you
yes,
change your mindset, most everything looks like you've already transformed. And there is that 5% that's
yeah,
still used to the way you think.
yes,
It's been thinking that way for many years. So how do you fully get rid of it? I guess you can turn it down a little bit,
yeah.
but these
Like Angela.
moments,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah,
Angela
yeah.
up.
Her knob.
But
Turn it down.
yeah,
Yeah,
but I love that analogy that you mentioned with the five. And as
yes,
far as like empowering people to help you, I had that experience too. And I was in management trying to do it all by myself. And I took over a district that was the last one in the country. And I tried to push so hard and make
yes,
these people produce.
yes,
And I finally said, I don't care about that. Let's empower these people. And what happened is not only did I learn how to be like a great leader that people wanted to follow, but at the same time, they felt so empowered because I said, you know what, stop being a control freak, give it to them. Let them do their job, empower them to teach them more skills that they can actually run my district by themselves. At some point, like my friends were saying, do you even work? Do you have a job? I'm like, yes, and it's a lucrative one. And I
yes,
travel for free and I have so many miles I don't know what to do with. But I
yes,
didn't have to work because I empowered other people.
yeah.
And I changed from hard to easy and gratifying, and other people felt good at the same time. Just like you said, you find talent, that talent is grateful because you're giving them a job while you're offloading yourself. And it can work for both
Hmm.
and create something beautiful in both of your lives. Like that was the biggest aha for me, how little I worked when I trusted that other people can do their job and offload of me even. I'll be like, hey, I'm going on vacation for a month. Can I have people to step in
Yes,
and do? And I came back, oh, it's still running. Huh,
yeah.
winning awards and everything. It's possible.
It
It's
is
possible.
possible. The other, and I'll just finish with this thought and say goodbye for now to our listeners. But I think the other fun aspect of thinking and feeling an experience versus metric or having the metric be the experience is that it's a fun visual to sculpt. Even if you're not necessarily a visual person, maybe there's another way. Maybe you want to use your hand, write it, or or speak it out loud. Like maybe that you need to hear it.
Mhm.
But that you're in a creative process and it's fun. And so you do get to be the playwright or the filmmaker where you get to say, okay, what will Ryan look like when he's frolicking on the stage? And what will it smell like? And so there's an easier story to tell there than there is with I'm gonna make $1 million this year. So you can already feel my
Mhm.
voice stop, right?
Mhm.
What would I be doing? I would have my girls over and we would be celebrating. I would probably get a special gift for everybody, like in my family. I would definitely think of like, where could I donate it to? Like that all of a sudden now I'm in such relationship with who I really am
Mhm.
by sharing it as an experience versus a number or like a check. So if that's really where you are writing your future and you are the storyteller of your own life and you get to do that when you tell the story of the experience, a goal can be so limiting if it's just the ones and the zeros.
100%. And I think start living the life that you really want to be living. So one thing that you can start thinking, what if I never make the money? What if
Mhm.
if the chase never produces the money, right?
Mhm.
How do I want to live today and enjoy every single day? Once you start living that, like enjoying everything you're doing, money will be attracted and will come. It's already
Yes.
there. It's waiting for you to relax. But if I'm always complaining about the car I'm driving or the house, you're pushing it further and further away. So I'm like, forget it. The house in the neighborhood that I'm dreaming about is never going to come unless I'm fully happy living in the house I'm in. I'm so joyful that I don't care if it comes or not. And that's when it comes.
Or
Every time.
it comes with problems. That's what I've witnessed in my own life,
Yeah. Because
right?
it's
Like it,
created in the wrong way. Because you think it's going to
yes,
solve your problem. Because you think when I get that guy, I will be happy and he's going to
happy.
compliment me
Yeah.
every day. Why don't you compliment yourself every day? And then you attract the guy that wants to compliment you. But we
Yes.
think differently. We think once I get there, once I have a guy or money or this or whatever body, then I'm going to be happy. It doesn't work this way. You disappointed. You get that because I've gotten that before. I'm like, I really wanted that. I got it. And I'm like, that's it. It didn't do anything
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah. Not when it's pursued in that way. No way. No, I
So
know.
get
Well,
happy with everyday life. Start living your happy future,
yeah. And
you know?
paint the picture of your experience that you're looking for. And
Hmm.
as always, we will see you in or hear you or be with you in our next episode. And until next time, be well.
Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider sharing it with your friends or family members who may also benefit from it. And please don't forget to subscribe and check us out on Instagram at Ashes to Love. We appreciate you and we'll see you next time.